Hello. This video is about essay conclusions. Let's start by reviewing the basic essay organization in English. You say what you're going to say, you say it, and then you say what you said. Again, this video will be about the last part, say what you said. Alright, a conclusion basically has three jobs. These are to signal the end of the essay so that the reader knows that they're getting towards the end of what you have written. Remind the reader of the main points of the essay, and to leave the reader with a final thought. Let's start with the first of these, signal the end of the essay. You do this by using one of these concluding signals. Okay, so here they are. I'm not going to read them all to you. You can read yourself. Take a look. Is there anything you notice about any of them? Is there anything strange? Is there anything there that worries you? There should be. That very first one, finally, that's not a concluding signal. Sometimes people use it as a concluding signal because they're writing the last paragraph of their essay, but that's a signal that goes with the last body paragraph, not with the conclusion. Take a look. Are there any more problems? Yeah, there's one more, and that's the word lastly. And that's the same thing. We use that for the last body paragraph, not for the conclusion. I promise I won't try to trick you again. Okay, let's keep going. The next thing is to remind the reader of the main points of the essay. So you can mention the points, but without repeating the exact words or the exact phrases. In other words, you paraphrase yourself. Okay, so you refer to the points or examples or ideas knowing that your reader knows what you're talking about. You've already explained everything. You don't need to explain it again. Please don't. But you can talk about it as though the reader understands what you are talking about. As I said, don't explain again. All right. Paraphrase your thesis, but do it in the context of having already proven it. At the beginning, you've given your thesis, but you haven't explained why. Now, when you paraphrase your thesis at the end, again, do it in the context that you have already proven your points. You've already proven and explained how you are right. Lastly, leave the reader with a final thought. So give your readers something to think about after they have finished reading your essay. So, there's a couple things or a couple ways that we can do that. You can make a prediction or a warning of consequences. You can suggest some type of solution. You can make a recommendation for the future, or a call to action. A call to action means you're encouraging people to do something, to act in some way. So, again, let's take a look at some examples of each of these. Make a prediction or a warning of consequences. The consequences are usually negative. That's why it's a warning. For example, if action is not taken soon, the situation will continue to worsen until it becomes unmanageable. Okay, so it's already a bad situation. Hopefully you've explained that in your essay. And now you're saying if something doesn't happen now, this is going to continue getting worse. Just to be clear, all of the example sentences that I show here, they're just things I just made up. They're not related to any particular essay. So in that sense, they're fairly general. Next, suggest a solution. Government regulation in this industry would provide a level playing field for companies and guarantees of quality for consumers. So you're suggesting here that the government needs to step in and needs to make laws about this industry, whatever it is. Next, make a recommendation. And again, I've just made these up. This is going to sound the complete opposite because it is. Government must step back and let private industry run its business according to the laws of supply and demand. Or a call to action. If the government is not willing to make changes, then the government must be changed at the next election. So here's kind of a 2-for-1 call to action. You're telling the government, listen, government, this is what you need to do. And if the government doesn't make the changes, you're saying, okay, voters, at the next election, we need to change the government because this is a really important idea. When you are doing these things at the end, be careful. Don't introduce a new idea. Okay? Because if you do, it's going to confuse the reader. The reader will be asking him or herself, well, is the essay over? Is this a transition paragraph? Should I be turning the page? Should I be looking for more? So you need to make sure that you are not starting something new, which actually leads very nicely to what I'm going to say next. The most important feature of a conclusion, of a good conclusion, is also the most challenging. You must leave the reader with the feeling that the essay is finished. The essay must feel like it is over. Okay? It feels complete. Let's take a look at the conclusion that I wrote for the essay that we have been looking at the last couple of videos. So I'm going to start here, and this is the confidence of knowing that I've proven my point. So while it is true that change is uncomfortable for some, I'm assuming this now because I've explained these ideas, society cannot allow its slowest, most conservative members to set the pace of change and development. So this is now kind of a warning. It says a warning from the past. So just explaining that if we had done this in the past, there would have been consequences now. We can't start doing this now. We can't start letting the slowest, most conservative members of society set the pace. That sentence is, if people had always done this, society would have developed very differently and very much more slowly. I hope that's self-evident. I hope it's easy to see and to understand that. Here's my restated thesis statement. It is true that cell phones can be used for simple-minded, crude, vacuous entertainment, but that is no reason to take a dim view of the devices as a whole. Now, if you go back and check, that idea is exactly the same as what I said in my thesis statement, but the sentence is completely different, and that's what you need to do. I have seen sometimes students, what they do is they take their thesis statement and they try to change one word and then maybe change another and then maybe switch the order of the clause. Don't do that. That's a terrible idea. Explain it in a new way. Imagine that you've said your thesis and you're talking to somebody and they don't understand. I don't get it. What do you mean? Just changing one or two words probably isn't going to help. You need to explain in a new way. And that's what I've done here. And finally, our final thought. Many pieces of technology can be used in better or worse ways, and cell phones are no different. It is the user, not the tool, that decides how a tool is used. Yeah, I guess that's true. It gives me something to think about as I'm walking away from the essay. Okay? All right, so final thoughts here. More than other parts of an essay, conclusions are an art form. Okay? You have to work till you get just the right feel for it. And because feel is so important, conclusions are often the hardest part for students to get right. The introduction and the body follow pretty predictable patterns. Conclusions, though, it's about getting the feeling that comes out just the right way. When the light does go on, though, you will probably enjoy writing conclusions just because it really does. A good conclusion gives an essay a feeling of finality, of completeness, and of being done. Closing the book, there, good story. I enjoyed that. Okay? So, it might take you a while till you get there, but you will get there. Keep working at it. Okay, that's all I've got for today. Thanks very much. Have a good day.